This shouldn't have to happen, but here we are. This is the argument explaining what a toy is versus what a hobby or collectible is. This is for Google's support team, or whatever you want to call them, whoever watches this, who's paid exorbitant amounts of money to watch this. This is to make it down to their tech division so that they can include this in the programming language for what I refer to as the Inepticons, which you're probably going to see my rant video come about that, which is all over the place. That will be up shortly after this video. This is to help solve one of the problems that the COPPA situation has resulted with. So, without further ado, let's get this on the road. Now, first we need to define what a toy is. A toy is an object or item that can bring hours of enjoyment, or, in this case, pleasure, to an individual. And no, we're not going into that territory. So, for those of you thinking this is going to become something dirty, no, we're keeping our heads out of the gutter on this one. So what we need to define as toy is something that appeals to a general audience. In this case, I will pick something easy, something off the top of my head, and something that I had sitting right next to me. This is a toy. You can see it right here. It is marketed towards ages 8 and up. However, I know kids that are 5 that have these. My nephew has a bunch of these. These are marketed towards children, however, there are still adults who collect them. This falls into a gray area. Now, let's go in even deeper into the area, because there are a lot of things that need to be clarified, frankly. This little, I believe this is Play School Heroes, or, like, this is from, like, the Superhero Squad toy line. So this is a toy. It is a little itty-bitty collectible figurine. And this is not collectible as in the collectible sense. This is collectible as in, this is a thing that you get. This is a toy. This is something a kid will have, they'll play with it for a little while, and then you'll find it at Goodwill. This is a toy. This is 100% a toy. A Nerf gun is a toy, until somebody like myself would modify it. Very dangerously in some cases. Now, why do I have to do this? Because, frankly, there's no detection in place. If it looks like a toy, it is a toy. If it looks like it's not a toy, they sometimes confuse it with a toy. I have a relative who did full-scale Hot Wheels to real car conversions. They would take a design they loved from a Hot Wheels they bought, and they would put it on a full-scale vehicle of the same design. They did amazing work. The problem is, whenever they would upload their stuff to YouTube, 98% of it got flagged for being a toy review, because they had a picture, a side-by-side picture of the car and the vehicle that it was painted to be. And the algorithm could not detect if that vehicle was in fact the car. So this is to hopefully clarify that. Now, this is where it comes in. So that was a toy. This is a reproduction of an adult collectible. As it says up there, it is 15 plus. This thing has legitimate weight to it. This, if given a metal blade, this silver part here, would be considered a weapon. This is for adult collectors. This is not intended for children of any age. It's also worth noting that when this came out, this was almost $200. On the aftermarkets, they can go as high as $200, so nobody make that argument that, oh, well, GameStop got it and it's only $80. I know, that's where we got it. But now we need to get into the other territory, because when it comes to collectibles, collectibles are defined as anything over a set amount that one would collect, like baseball cards, essentially. Or Pokemon. Gotta catch them all, right? The impossible task. I gotta catch them all. I gotta get another. Seriously, we're all freaking junkies. But this is going on into the other side of it. This needs to be explained, because I myself am in this community. This is a Gunpla. That stands for Gundam Plastic Models. And so what we need to explain here is the difference, because to the algorithm, these two are identical. And if he would stand, come on, just get your... Yeah, my brother leaves the joints on these things so stiff. To the algorithm, these two are identical. This, which that we had to build from scratch. I'd say detail, but he's not big on detailing. We have to build this. We have to buy this. This is something that will end up in a Goodwill. This, if you're lucky, will end up at a Goodwill. But this is where we have to get into that gray area again, because they can't tell these apart. They don't care if it's 4 cents or $4,000. They just don't see the difference. So we need to have it defined as such and marked as such in their system, so that we can, in fact, create what we want to create the way we want to create it. Now, I need to set this off to the side, because for those of you not familiar with Gunpla, it is in no way targeted towards children. A lot of these. This being like one of the weirder examples is, we picked this up locally for $6.50 plus tax. This is not the baseline price. This is what the shop marked it at, which is average for this line. This line was marked as to be very cheap, but unfortunately some of the quality, the build quality reflects that. That's neither here nor there. This is not marketed towards children. On the side of the box, like this one, I'm picking out specifically. This one just says on the side, not for children under 3 years. And it says this right here, small parts. You can see it, it's actually in English. This is one of the only boxes that has English on it. Why? This was designed for Western audiences. It was made to target the West. But this one just does not say it. Every other kit, if it comes from Bluefin or otherwise, here's a different one. This one says ages 8 and up. These are the only ones that say this, pretty much. And I also want to point out that these came out this year in 2019. So as of this video's creation, they just came out. Here's a kit from 1995, and you can see it right here, ages 8 and up. So this was over a decade ago. This was over 24... Yeah, this is 24 years old at this point. The kit feels like it's 24 years old at this point, but that's neither here nor there. This one does have English. It says ages 8 and up. Again, not for children under 3. This is not something you give to a child. This is a model kit. Let's define what a model kit is. A model kit is something you have to painstakingly build. It is not Lego. Because if we want to do it with a broad term, then by definition, at that point, Lego would be considered a model kit. But no, a model kit should be listed as something that comes on what we refer to as trays, runners, sprues, etc. If it looks like this, If it comes on something like this, with injection molded parts like this, not this exact shape, but similar to this, then it is a model kit. A model kit is something that you have to use a tool to cut out. A tool that can be very hazardous to the user, like these, or a knife. And we've all cut ourselves with knives accidentally, or on purpose. Some of us just don't like ourselves very much. But a model kit is something that you have to build yourself, cut out yourself, paint yourself, detail yourself, do all the work that a production facility would normally do for a toy. That is the main difference. But unfortunately, to the eyes of the detection algorithm, this and this are identical. In fact, to the detection algorithm, because this has red, white, blue, and yellow, I wouldn't be surprised if they can confuse this with Optimus Prime. It would not strike me as odd at all. Because like I mentioned, a relative of mine literally made cars. And to further drive home the point, I'm also a member of the 3D printing community. It's been a while since I've been able to be active because I've had some technical malfunctions, but I'm hoping to correct that, and I need to just show this to further drive this point home. This is a 3D printed Diglett that I made for my brother for his birthday. This took me almost 9 hours to make. Why? Well, I got my settings wrong, but that's neither here nor there. It's still the heaviest print I've ever made. 9 hours of work. And the reason why, and to the algorithm, this is a toy. It's not because of the materials. It's because it lines up with the following criteria. Does it match something I have on file? Yes, because this falls under Pokemon. Does this fall under any specific color category? It's white, but no, right now it doesn't fall under anything other than that because it's not painted. Does this look like a toy? The answer, unfortunately, is yes. But, once again, they are not toys. This is not a toy. Toys you can manufacture. If I was charging, if I had my brother pay for this based on the hours that it was going on, based on what it drove my power bill up by, this probably would have been $45 to $100, depending on how long it took, minimum. But that's the sad part, that we have to actually discuss what all this materials mean. I hope that one day this helps clarify the difference between all this stuff and one day lets the creators actually come back to having their channels back. And this is so that people like Emgo, who makes his living off of YouTube, doesn't have to go back and clarify all this, go back to do the daily slog, then come back and say, oh hey, by the way, you don't need to go do that because you never had to in the first place. It's not fair to the creators, that's what I'm saying. So if you hopefully stayed around this time along, this has been the argument to help the inadequate, to put it gently, detection methods used by Google and their robots to hopefully solve this problem. Please, share this video. I encourage you to make your own. Help me define what is or what should and should not be regarded as a toy. Because off the top of my head, there are a lot of video game collectibles that can be defined as not toys either, because they are not toys. You can't do anything with them. They just sit there. They just collect dust. That's all they do. They sit there, they look pretty, and they get dusty. So please, share this video. Make your own. Let your voice be heard.